you know, just because their personalities take a dive like they're in the Olympics, witches thoroughly anticipate that everybody else is going to make a decision to just forget what under heaven they are and do whatever under heaven they want them to do. I find it arrogant. Every morning, well, maybe not every morning, but a lot of mornings, I wake up having dreamt about, yes, yet another witch that's trying to get me to just quickly have a baby, quickly just, you know, take anything here in these streets, like, anyone that's like, hello, nice, hello, my sister, unjani, uyashisa uyababa something. And then I'm just like, oh, thank you so much for complimenting me, since nobody's done it for, like, you know, a decade. I'll take it, yo, take it. I will touch it, yo, touch it. You can have me, yo. And I'm like, wow, okay, Balotsana, otherwise known as witches. Lebalang. I've got these like 2 witches in my family, a sister pair. The one half of the sister pair used to be one of my best friends. We grew up together, born in 1984 each. And yeah, like never thought any such thing would like raise its ugly head again in her after she betrayed me already way before I came to Jesus. But that's just the uncomfortable thing about thinking that a snake is going to do a different thing. I don't know, now that you've forgiven it. There was this short that I was watching on YouTube. This one lady is like, never, the kind of friend never to let come back into your life. And then she says that a friend that has either tried to drag your name through the mud, betrayed you, or tried to steal your man, or mess up with your relationship, don't let them back. Because when a snake sheds its skin, it only does that so it can become a bigger snake. Yeah. As soon as she finished that short, it was quite short, like a very short. I remember thinking, let's say her name was Katudu. I remember thinking, my goodness, Katudu. Literally, that's the thought that came to the top of my mind. Katudu, a person that I allowed to come back with important capacity in my life after an initial disappointment, an initial very severe betrayal. And I thought that, you know, now that my life is restored and I'm good again, she's gonna know not to do it next time, because now she's just freaking embarrassed because I bounced back. I got my life back and I let her back in. This event happened when I was like 21, and when I finally got my life back together, I was like, you know what, I'll bring back this Katudu rando. I did just that, and she became a bigger snake, an anaconda, one that even devoured my entire future, because this time around she learned witchcraft. Yeah, she's also brought her little sister into this equation, and now both of them are involved in darkness. That's unfortunate, because frankly the little sister was apprehensive at first on some, this stuff is kind of weird, it's like strange. I don't know, it might just destroy my life, my soul. It might just destroy my future, maybe even completely change my personality. And since I've got the baddest personality in the game, I'm so funny, look at me. I'm so jocose. I wouldn't want to lose any of that. Last time I checked, witchcraft makes people all dark and eerie, so I'm not sure. And my sister was like, do you want a future? And she was like, well, I do. Are you currently struggling? Making like a false preacher. Yeah. Do you want better? Yes. Do you see yourself in a big suit one day? I guess. Is it going to work out for you to stay on this trajectory? I guess not. Has anything ever worked out for you before? Well, I mean, I'm still young or not? I guess not. So come with me. I know this one lady ko Pimville ko Pesta by the name of Coxbanban Uzokcesa. Weird. Mara. How's mo? You got it, girl. You got it. Unalebo kamus. Obono remukimuense Karabo. You saw what I did to Karabo. Well, I mean, it's uncomfortable. It's uncomfortable. A sister gotta do what a sister gotta do. You know what I'm saying? Sister gotta do what a sister gotta do. You know what I'm saying? Sister gotta do what a sister gotta do. You know what I'm saying? I mean, somebody gotta get a career. So it's gonna be me. At the expense of someone else, I gotta steal somebody else's future. And she's like, And then her sister was like, okay, whatever, think over it over 24 hours, but it's the last time. I'm gonna take this offer off the table, and if you don't embrace it, well, I'm gonna erase your memory, because remember, I'm a witch. She's like, well, I wouldn't want my memory to be erased. So I guess where do we start? And so this like sister pair then started to literally bewitch everything in their periphery. Her own sister chose someone to ransack, and then she chose me. Why? Because I was the one out there that she was envious of. This thing became a bigger snake. Back in the day, she was just full of sabotage, however, using physical means. Now she did it with spiritual weapons. Unfortunately for this psychopath, that's what's good. She met a Christian. Yeah, she did this to someone who gave her life to Jesus. Did this to somebody that gave her life to the Lord Jesus Christ. Just at the nick of time, frankly. I was actually getting born again at the age of 26, and she was actually on top. I'm tired of suffering. I'm tired of struggling. I'm tired of having a hard day. I'm tired of being the baby mama who's only struggling with the baby and the baby daddy. I'm tired of people always asking me what's happening, what's going on. They're trying to ask me when I'm gonna get a proper career. Why can't they leave me alone? Yeah. And it's about time I visit a sangama. It's about time I listen to Sangi. It's about time I visit the sangama. It's about time I stole a career. Carry you, the one I'm going to boom, boom, boom with my spiritual weapon, yeah. Yeah, this chick was a total irresponsible, kept on messing up in the earlier part of her upcoming. Yeah, so she lost a lot of jobs, ended up working in like retail and what have you, gathering a silly little salary. And she was a baby mama who decided to make a baby asina, medical aid asina, mosebezi. So she gave birth to a baby in a public hospital. Baby daddy of which had also quit his job in order to pursue business, but the two of them irresponsibles made a decision to plan a baby even when there was no financial stability in both of their lives. But no, we are brooding. We want a baby, yo. So they made like typical blacks and made a child, brought a baby into this world into extreme hardship. She then started to look at more responsible souls around her and said, I'm just so much better. Everything is just working out so much better. Why me? I want a better life like everyone. What can I do to fix the situation boiling me up inside? I'm going to declare whoa on my cousin, cause she's so successful and has everything working out for her. I can say freshly ground, and I was like, wow, okay, yeah. Yeah, the Lord then decided to give Karabo a calling on some girl. I'm calling you, you're my baby. I was like, ooh, okay, I'll take it. Thank you for calling me. So what's next? Yeah, made me what it is under heaven that I am, what you're walking at now. But this woman, she made a decision, or Karab was the one, okay, matlang out the way. One, because I was literally the most successful out of literally everybody, including in the family. Out of our peers, my sister was a little bit above me. And secondly, because I was the closest one she was with, Bumba Beste. I like to say this, hey, about witches. Like, yo, I must, keep your enemies close, but keep your frenemies closer, or something of that nature. Witchcraft is a crime of passion for the better part of the time. Witches rarely ever afflict. You are so far away. There are some crazy psychopaths out there. Like I recently met one. Yeah, some woman in Jefela that came into my life through a DM. Wrote me in my blog and then decided to bewitch the living daylights out of me. You do find little creeps like that who will literally like afflict you from da fair. In other words, they're very far away. Just a total stranger. I also met another lady in the clubhouse complex where I used to stay at, the complex clubhouse, and we had like a 5-second conversation, and the next day I got a dream about her doing stuff to me, what I do, but you don't know me. And she was like, I do now. Okay, wow, righto. But witches, for the better part of the time, commit what I call crimes of passion. They tend to hit the ones with whom they are closest, the ones that they ought to have the greatest relationship with, and because of this fellowship with you and them, they've got grander passions, grander emotions towards you, and so therefore feel a grander incentive to handle you, subdue you, control you. The moment they learn witchcraft and then come at you, they're like husbands who kill wives, they're like mothers who sabotage daughters' prospects. They are like, I could go on. They go for the ones with whom they are closest. So she targeted me because I was her best friend and cousin. Like, you know, literally wedgie the living daylights out of you. Like, what look. She's like, whoops, I did it again. No, herein lies the bigger snake. So she came at me, but I was getting born again at the same time. God was giving me a call. God was planning on doing a thing with my life in the future. He wanted to set me apart, literally put me in isolation, make sure that I don't have anyone in my life so I can prophesy the things I need to prophesy without the distraction of a bustling career, thriving marriage, children running around all over the show, so that I can look at nothing but Jesus. And so that's what I did for a decade. But I've been complaining because I hate being unemployed and totally poor. However, this rando female was like, I did it. I achieved it. I stop her in the back, I stop her in the heart, I stop her in the career, I stop her in the butt, I stop her everywhere so she has nothing left. I'm gonna make sure she's got holes everywhere, oh. Like a bucket that has water, everything she drink, oh, is gonna spill out. I stop her everywhere, oh. I've done it before, but not with witchcraft. This time around, I've got her because I know Sangoma. I was like, oh my goodness. I'm angry! I hate you so much right now! Yeah, I started out really mad, killing it with anger. On some the audacity, how dare she do this to me? I was an intelligent one of you, see, eh? I was the one person in my school, with A. I'm the one that went into university. I'm the one that got kill it in corporate. I walk up and down the corporate floor with my kwai. Everybody think I'm excellent. I'm the one that arrived. Oh, out of all of our friends, I'm the most successful. I'm the one that is doing the best thing over here. Oh, how dare she come against me? Don't you know I'm clever? I'm smarter than her. I'm genius, eh? I'm genius, eh? Nobody give me problem. But this woman is going to cause an entire planet to underestimate that me I'm genius, eh? You won't go take away my brain? No, you're not going to take my brain. No, she tried to take away brain. She tried to take away even life, oh. She tried to take away everything off of me so that nobody will go look at her. Because it was obvious. She tried to sacrifice me. I was like, no, never. I am angry. I'm going to throw toys out of God. So when I'm done, I'm going to strangle her because she is disgusting. And Jesus was like, just sat around, waited for me to like simmer down, calm down, relax, take a breather. Let years progress with me, Beyonce. How dare she do this to me? I'm clever. Don't you see? I'm the one here that's smart. I'm the one that go do well in school. She does not even know what X times X is equals to because she can't even stand numbers. I'm the clever one over here. I crunch number like I crunch a chocolate bar. But she is giving me problem more. I'm the clever one. And Jesus is like, oh. And then I'm like, oh, I'm the one that never even go and skip work because I've got Baba Laza. I no go drink too much. I stopped drinking alcohol, so I was always responsible. Designated driver. Always the one that is the better one in the room. Why she go do this to me? I'm the responsible one. It's obvious. Everybody here is gonna see that this is a travesty thing happening to Karabo. Karabo is not the kind of person to go and suffer like this because she's very responsible. Every day she's at work. Oh. Even though her boss tell her, go take leave, man. You will be coming to the office every day. One day you gonna lose your leave day. The way that I'm so always at work, but I'm the one that get fired. I'm the one that get fired. She's gonna see what I'm talking about. Her witchcraft is not gonna work. No weapon formed against me shall prosper. If God before me, who can be against me? If God before me, who can be against me? Never. Jesus gonna show her lightning strike. Show her lightning strike. Oh, destroy her and save my life. Oh, give me my job. Oh, give me my job. Oh, Jesus. So why you gonna leave me poverty stricken? Why? Jesus was like, Well, it was until I finally learned lesson. I was like, hey, Jesus, here are my years ticking and ticking. No, I look at our watch, I'm getting old. Are you gonna watch me turn 35? Oh? Are you gonna now watch me turn 40? An entire decade from the age 29, no, Jesus say. 30, 31, 32, 33. Where's my breakthrough? Yeah, 34, 35. Where is my husband and my children? Now I've got a geriatric womb. But I pray. 36, 37. Oh, Jesus, it's getting too late now. Who's gonna find me attractive at this giant age? 38. No, I'm turning 39. Oh, Jesus. So tomorrow I'm 40. How you gonna go just abandon me like that? And Jesus is like, Ultimately, I discover what's going on over here, Arrow. I've been explaining it. Please go check out all of my parts, my series, all the things that I do. We're leaving. We're going in the rapture. Millennial reign of Jesus Christ is at the door. Before then, there's going to be a 7-year tribulation. So I'm going to be in the clouds in the sky, killing it, kicking it in heaven with Jesus, judging the whole world, watching the Hunger Games. Yeah, so I had to be in this position, because if I was not in this position, I would not have shared much of what it is that I shared with the level of candor that I shared, because I would have been looking at my boss in corporate South Africa and wondering what he or she is going to think with all of my taboo content. I wouldn't have been able to speak out readily or freely against the violent, virulent, incredibly intense corruption in corporate South Africa without being surveilled by corporate South Africa and being considered a little bit of a watcher. You know, like it's going to be like this chick just watch her, the things she's saying online, because we know that organizations are surveilling, they're stalking their prospective employees and even their current employees on social media. So the things that I speak are too taboo. I am calling out random rubbish in the South African government, random rubbish in corporate South Africa. I am calling out witchcraft, for instance, in organizations where people are working across this nation splattered. There are so many witches, there are so many practicing sorcerers and sorceresses that are getting promotions, that are getting recognitions, stars, rewards, and all that jazz, precisely because they have bewitched it into their buckets, taking credit, kudos, street cred, therefore, from people who actually deserve it. So if I was busy rapping on about this because it was happening to me, because I was a really good employee and some deadbeat got the promotion, I would have rocked up to my YouTube channel and spoken about it, and not spoken about it, I would have swallowed it. I would have swallowed it like a pill. I would have just taken it in my stride, been angry, bashed my little fist in the sky, cried a little bit, screamed an inaudible scream, and then went back to the office and faced the very person that stole a job from right underneath my feet. I wouldn't have been candid, I wouldn't have been voracious, honest. Also, another thing, never mind just corporate South Africa, but just the world out there. Yeah, so just the world out there, all the people involved in sorcery. Guys, this is not just private, public sector in the workplace, but we are speaking romance. My goodness, like, romance is actually what I'm here to talk about, okay? It's disgusting. It's a cesspool. It's a rape house. Literally, it's like a brothel, but like made up of sorcerers and sorceresses, and their prostitutes, their ladies of the night are victims. Like, it's literally like human trafficking, the romantic plane, where people search out for wives and stuff, or husbands, I guess, because you want to get married as a lady chica. I got this question for you, my baby. Do you say I do gavumai? I do gavumai do. Hey, batungi puti lepina eo, but like, yeah, everybody be out in these streets trying to get married well, for good reasons. I mean, who does not want to get married well? Yeah, and because of this like longing for marriage that's always just been around, because that's how God made us, to long to one day be with our partners forever and ever. Yeah, no, there is a lot of manipulation through sorcery of spouses, be they female or male, but I'm really just trying to gun for women right now because the pandemic is really very richly against women. There's a lot of Gorobela. A lot, like, as in, I would go so far as to say, out of all the marriages, especially within the black community in South Africa that have been entered into the past 10 years, a good 70% of them involve some kind of witchcraft, where the individual in question that is the victim of the perpetrator would not have even looked in the direction of the perpetrator if at all it was not for influencing them through the spirit realm. So people are getting divorced in like horrific numbers. Imedi that have been with guys for way too long, and they're like, I don't want you anymore. It happened actually to the younger sister. Look at you embracing your sister's witchcraft, and now you're married to a guy you didn't sign up for. The younger sister, she wanted to get out. She was not really sure if this was going to end up well. Well, she gave the dude babies, and I believe they're married today. Don't know the stats of their union or what's going on, because I literally don't find out anything of what's going on in the family, because I, one, don't care, and two, they also don't care to tell me. So I guess we're in this together without caring. Yeah, that's what's good. Yeah, no, go chat this meeting. And the biggest challenge of the occult in any ecosystem will always be the body of Christ and the prayers thereof. So there has been a gargantuan mammoth attack on the body of Christ, and much of which has prospered. It has succeeded. Churches are like these little kiddies playgrounds where khona le scotch chicago kom banana bathi ya matini bathi ya tennis ulahlanko dimo egi. Yeah, they're just playing games. They're not really actually successful in prayer. Yeah, no, the occult is having a field day with churches. They are succeeding. They are infiltrating entire witches coming from covens, the strategy of which is to literally run a whole coven in a church. And a coven would not successfully run in any church if people were actually truly praying. Yeah, they do every so often. Ba 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 ta ta ta. What are you doing? Orderly worship. God made it clear. Stop with that. Nobody understands what you're saying. So that whole tongues thing is messing churches up. Why? Because of the fact that demonic tongues are being infiltrated amidst real tongues, and they are conquering them because they are walking in disobedience. When people don't pray, when people are compromised in Christ, their prayers are hindered. They are hindered. They're thwarted, right? Plus, on top of that, churches are teeming at the folds because of a lack of preaching of holiness in the church with people that aren't already born again. One, they only attend Easter or 2 or 3 times in like a 6-month period, or they're there every Sunday. What? Umuntu wakhona is cohabiting. The person is in witchcraft. The person is living with a boyfriend. They're having sex. The person is this and that. The person is a gossip, a saboteur in the office. They're disrespectful. They keep stealing stationery. Like, I could go on. So when they pray, God, like, really, the prayers of the wicked are an abomination to Emmanuel. That's what the Lord has to say. So he just looks at them on some, this is a stench to my nose. It's a stench. I don't know why it's rising up to the heavens, because it's a total stench. I don't want this. So the church is full with people that are praying that are not getting heard. Church is full of people that are compromised, and so their prayers are being hindered even though they're Christians. Like, for instance, what are you saying? What are you saying? Like, proper in the whole church. Like, the fact that I could even mimic that, and I was not even praying in my own real tongues, that's like titi pa 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 ta ta. No, I'm not praying. Like, I literally am pretty aware that I'm not tapped into the spirit. I'm just ta 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 ta. Ting ting twing. Plates might as well drop on the floor with you like a ting twing. But busy twing twing twing. When the word of the Lord makes it clear that don't do this thing, and one of the biggest strategies by the occult against the church is that phenomenon, that whole thing that is happening in churches where they are completely disregarding the Bible. The devil is like, okay, go in, my people, and just start twing ka twing twing ka ta pa pe 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 pe. Woo! Dorom pam 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 yeah, just go in and be like, that's your tongues. Yeah, no, and they'll just take it. So you're gonna literally pray my demonic tongues amidst them, and they won't be able to tell the difference. You know, when the Lord says, when he gives you rules of orderly worship, like, oh, honor them, because he is not saying things to thwart your spiritual activity and make your worship boring. He is protecting you from what in the world and the heaven could potentially happen in that ecosystem. Nobody can interpret, so whatever the devil is saying, like, avoid it. Just tell them, don't do it, not in this church, but it ain't happening. So the occult has very severely infiltrated churches. There are actual witches. Oh, come on, don't do that to me. There are actual witches working in churches that whose sole prerogative is to literally disrupt actual tongues with demonic tongues. And because people are busy in apparently the name of Jesus, dishonoring Jesus, who has had quite a lot to say about what not to do in the church. They're dishonoring him, they're disrespecting him, disregarding him, therefore obeying him, and in disobeying him their prayers are hindered. So and you might even be, when on the side there, that's an actual Christian, be praying in real tongues. Bottom line is, you are walking in sin in that particular state. Your tongues are for your own private prayer. Your tongues are for an environment where if at all you speak them, somebody can interpret. That's the only place. And if you bring them out of context, you are sinning. So your prayer is whatever. So until the busy go get again, like a whole bunch of you in a public congregation, you are literally all of you as a conglomerate not getting heard. So that's how the devil has been getting infiltrated into these gargantuan churches, you know, these mega churches, these places where they just kind of throw tongues around all over the show. Yeah, no, he's able to just bring stuff low using that whole thing, because he knows that your prayers on that day are just wasted, thrown away in the dustbin. Might as well just flush them. It's like a waste of food. Just throw all of it away in a country where there is famine. Mara, you gotta throw the food away because you decided to go and leave it in the sun for 24 hours, and so now it's all spoiled. That's what praying in tongues in the public congregation is achieving, from what the Lord is showing me. And the occult is literally dancing. They always singing, you don't need pants for the victory dance, cause a baboon's better than a weasel. We're here in the church and we're gathered here because we do what we want at the churches, not listening to Jesus, and so their prayers are nothing but sleazy. You don't need pants for the victory dance because those witches were better than these weasels. They look at us and they're like, I am Weasel, I am Weasel, I am Weasel. Might as well be cow and chicken. It's a circus. Kitty cartoon. So batala Chicago, skipping games. Therefore, they're not being heard. They're not being heard, and with the South African church, they're severely compromised. Witches are therefore able to also take for themselves nicely gamnandi. Godly women that have been waiting on the Lord for husbands. In the name of Jesus, I want husband. And a Satanist next to you. Say a roop, say a roop, say a roop, say oh. And then it's like, hello, my pebbles, you're so beautiful. We both love Jesus. Let's get married. This guy has literally cancelled your tongues with his, and he's your husband now. Indeed. So this thing is literally twitchy, guys. I don't care, you can hear my voice. I'm having to use my iPhone because the other phone is busy publishing another video, and you're busy. Yes. So the South African church is just like I said, Kiskoche, and witches have drawn in their little blockstar Scotch number 9 a flower because they've won the game. That's what's good. They're literally ransacking the South African church. It's a joke. It's a joke. It is a joke. Do you understand? If you like, it is a total joke. They have messed it up, especially with the whole tongues thing. They've infiltrated satanic ministers because of people looking for signs and wonders. So our prophet Lovi Tanamount, like these bushiris all over the show, men that are occult practitioners able to comfortably sit in a church. Comfortably. Like, I understand a person that is working for the kingdom of darkness is so indwelt by demons that they can't stand the presence of true praying saints or a true praying church. So a wicked pastor will last literally all of 5 seconds in a real church where people are really actually truly praying. But what's happening right now is that true Christians that are disquieted, what they're doing, what's happening to them is like what happened with me. They get squeezed out of that environment. They get persecuted out of the church until there's no one that's scary to the occult. So they're just having a field day. They're like swimming in hammocks, opening up a bottle of Jack Daniels, drinking it up with Coke. Like what? Turn up the volume and they start bopping. Like they start dabbing. That's what's happening in the church. The occult is literally on holiday. It's like Tahiti. They are sunbathing inside the church. They are having a good time, unfettered, and the few Christians that are there are getting squeezed out, or they're getting, the Lord is telling them get out, and they don't want to get out, so they're being persecuted. They are stubborn to basically wake up. They don't want to lose churches. They want to continue to fellowship with the saints, but they can't find anywhere where it's sober, so they're settling. That's what used to happen. That's what was the case with me. But God took me out by force. He took me out by force. Got me so like horrifically persecuted by the actual church that there was no way that I could stick around, that I could stay. And then I was thrown in this position. My church didn't help me. And 10 years down the line, almost a decade down the line, I'm still suffering. And I'm like, God, but why didn't you give me breakthrough? God, and then the Lord is like, God, but look at the country. Look around, baby. Have a good look. Go and grab magnified glass, baby. Go and grab binocular. Stare at it. This is the country you're living in. Nobody's gonna let you get married without bewitching your baby in your belly. When your baby comes out healthy anyway, because you that prayer warrior, they're then going to bewitch your baby's education so your baby doesn't develop. They're gonna bewitch your marriage. They're gonna keep on coming in between this and that. I don't want my children having to constantly fast and pray because they live in a country that refuses to let Christians be. That's South Africa. So why, oh why, am I unemployed, God? You're unemployed because you never would have been able to deliver this level of message with this level of accuracy, with this level of conviction, with this level of taking no prisoners and candor. Basically just literally in their face, bullseyes, not scared to take prisoners. Yeah, you would never have spoken like this if you were busy watching over your shoulder because of understanding of the surveillance around you by your organization and general life. So the company that you worked for, you were gonna always be looking over your shoulder. Things were gonna get bad in a way that you were gonna feel. And also, you're very skilled, you're talented, you're gifted. I made sure that you're gifted, okay? However, you are going to end up with a very severe case of what do they call this thing? Insecurity. In everything that you do, you would have started out your career very well and basically getting where you need to getting the promotions as they came along because you were skilled, you were excellent, but you were going to get so many witches coming at you, targeting your career, getting promotions that belonged to you because they would have succeeded to convince your future boss away from hiring you instead of them. It wouldn't have been about you. You wouldn't have been brought low because you're my disciple. But remember, they're not saved. And so because they're not saved, any witchcraft spell in Jefela from a distance, they are like, African tribes in the early ages hunting for game in the wild with poison darts. Yeah, no, they like poison dart bosses. They poison dart CEOs. They poison dart decision committees. They poison dart panels and interviews. They poison dart anybody at all that has a weigh in on who gets the job. So yeah, since the road is narrow that leads to life, that few they be that find it. Most people, very frankly, are not born again, even when they profess Christ in a country that calls itself Christian. You're gonna have lots and lots, hundreds of thousands, millions of people calling themselves believers, but I know that I only have a remnant. I know who belongs to me. In an office building filled with 100 staff members, I only see 5 as my own disciples. So given how violently outnumbered true saints are, you are not going to be able to successfully pray off all the darts against all of your colleagues and also all the darts that are coming at you and everybody else. You are going to just get bombarded. So what was going to happen is that you are going to lose a lot. You are going to lose promotions that belongs to you. They were going to steal your ideas. It would have been like Velcro strips, properly just like latching onto everything you do. There was going to be so much wealth transfer, people taking what doesn't belong to them, and those that would have been in a position to enable you along would have been poison darted, and so they were going to be sleepy. And you've already seen it happen. You see it happen. It's not that you're trapped, Karabo, it's that they are. Literally, the prisoners are out there. You can't live in a country where everybody is in prison and expect to get set free, because who in the world holds the keys to set you free? Everybody that is in a position to set you free has got a poison dart in their buttocks, a poison dart in their necks. So that's what your country looks like. That is how filthy it is. That is how many witches are in operation currently down here in these streets. They've made it impossible for South Africans to live normal lives, and even for people who are in a position to make decisions in this country, to make them without being interrupted by spiritual means. They only later regret hiring a certain person, but we all know how hard it is to fire anyone in this country. We all know how hard it is to get anybody fired in this country. It's a whole process. The Labor Relations Act is quite laborious to follow as employees. So people get hired that don't fit the job, they don't fit the profile, they are frankly not the best interview candidate, but they have spiritually manipulated the panel, and so they get the job, and 2 months later the boss regrets hiring that guy or that girl, because witchcraft does not suddenly give you skills. Let's just put that out there. You can get a promotion, but if you're not the person for the job, you're gonna drop the ball. It's that basic. That's why witches end up so incredibly jealous of people who actually work hard, because they actually gain skills. They're actually good at what they do. So you're gonna have this boss that's leaning on not you, given that you were hired for that job, but somebody else who is lowlier than you, who is in a lower position, essentially surveilling what you're doing, and you being the thorn in the flesh of your boss. But in South Africa, you can't fire a person unless you give them a first written warning, a second written warning, and then you go through an investigation process. Oh, Jabu's still working here. Snap. Who'd have thunk it? Is the first written warning expired yet? Has the year progressed? I guess we're stuck with Jabu until the guy gets fired, and that's when you get bad cases where constructive criticism, not constructive, but dismissal is happening. Constructive dismissal is essentially making a person's life such a living nightmare so they will get fired from their jobs. So such antics are being participated in corporate by organizations struggling to fire people that need to be fired. Literally, as in day before yesterday, how I wish the American system was applicable. Our laws protect bums, do you understand? Literal buttocks in chairs that are just there to warm the chair and then go home at 5 p.m. It's unfortunate. There are countries in this world where people can just get fired. However, these laws do cover people who actually do need protection from like bad people that are trying to get them fired, even though they're innocent. So I guess, wherever it is that you have a good law, there will always be people who find a loophole and exploit the circumstance, and witches are exploiting the tough employment laws of this nation that protect staff members so very much. They are literally riding the wave of the fact that they can't just get fired. So colleagues end up embittered. They really can't stand this bum, this like dust gatherer that is not doing well, but it's their boss, or they're not doing well, but it's their supervisor, or they're the ones that are getting all the accolades and the kudos and the rewards sports, but they're not pulling their weight. They are, the weakest link. However, strangely, they are the ones getting seen. Yeah, that's what witchcraft is doing. And so colleagues cannot stand witches. I miss them. Oh, come on. I'm getting like this twitch and this glitch and I'm not fixing it. Anyway, whatever. They can't stand it. But there's nothing they can do. So Wonkumuntu is walking around with low morale in corporate South Africa, and it is causing the economy to literally be busted a cap in the knee off. It's crashing. The economy is crashing because people are not pulling all their weight, because if it or somebody else has been promoted above you, you're not going to do your best when you're the one that was the best. So yeah, that being the state of South Africa, corporate South Africa, private sector and the public sector, even people who are getting contracts from the government for public works like construction of roads and public buildings are doing a horrible job with poor raw materials, and so the structures are falling apart. If you've seen the South African post office, you will literally be shocked out of your mind. People are sitting on chairs that look like they've been gnawed away at by rodents. That's what's going on, and this is as a result of people in the tenderpreneurs essentially getting jobs that belong to other people. And the reason why they get them is because, corruption as well as witchcraft, influencing people through spurts to make sure that they are the ones that get the job. And because you want to take a massive profit versus what would be the cost for the project to be commenced in the first place, you then buy literally bad, poor quality, substandard raw materials to build something that ought to be a lot sturdier than that. And so it starts to fall apart within 2 years, 3 years. Our roads are evidence of that, where contractors in the inner city, in the inroads of our suburbs, our roads have got potholes all over the show. Yet when you look at highways, strangely, they have got proper, rarely ever will you see a crack in the road on the highway, or even a pothole, because it's dangerous. People are driving there at 120 kilometers an hour maximum. So therefore, if at all you were to hit a pothole at that speed, your car could turn over and people could die. So in order to avoid that, they then do what it is that they do. They build the highway properly, but the inroads, they don't use the right raw materials because they understand their people are slow, there are robots everywhere, and people also are watching for the road on the floor to avoid potholes. And so they tell themselves that South Africans are safe in the inner roads in the way that they're not on the highway, so we're just going to give them substandard inner roads, but then build their highways properly so that they don't die in their numbers on the highway. These are the kinds of things that are happening in the country. Everything is falling apart, and witchcraft is at the epicenter. So it's the korobela all over the show. Marriages being entered into that people didn't sign up for, resulting in another thing, the korobela phenomenon, within the romance space, this witchcraft phenomenon, it's causing gender-based violence in the worst way, because that's the thing about a man. Herein lies a man that married a woman that did not want him, but that was made to want him using witchcraft. He's insecure like no man's business, and so because he's insecure, he starts to be abusive. Whenever she leaves, he gets all possessive. Whenever she talks, he gets all aggressive, passive aggressive. He is a man that is ever on the edge of his seat concerning his woman, and so it's easy for him to hook up a slap, hook up a push, a shove, hook up a knife literally driven into the heart, hook up a gender-based violence murder. That's what's good. HIV is yet another big fat chunky thing, because witches, actually it was done to me by that American rando, a person that's sick, realizing that, okay, this woman is not going to want me because of my HIV status, and so they put witchcraft to influence this person to basically accept whatever in the heaven might be the plethora of preventative methods involved in a relationship where one person is HIV positive and the other is negative. That lifestyle of just very careful sex, you can't just freely lay with your husband, because you got to make doubly sure that condoms are around. You got to doubly make sure that you take some kinds of medication to make sure that your partner that has got the disease is undetectable, and you have reduced also chances using some kind of medication to ever contract just very uncomfortable sex. And everybody knows, if you're busy trying to have a baby, meds our whole thing, you cannot just take anything. So if you want to have a child with him, it's I don't know what in the world under heaven are the things that are involved in a relationship where one person is HIV positive and the other one is negative. And if both parties influenced by spirits are happy to do this, by all means go on right ahead and marry an HIV positive man or an HIV positive woman. If you are happy to do this, if you are mature enough to love somebody in that position medically, by all means. But when then you get manipulated to accept that as a lifestyle, it's just and that's what's currently happening, where HIV positive people are bewitching their prospects, whoever it is that they want, right, to accept a life with somebody that is HIV positive. And now, if you've been spiritually manipulated, you are highly unlikely even going to be responsible or actively really surveilling your own safety with the virus, consulting doctors and everything. The carefulness that a couple that is not manipulated spiritually will not exist, because now you're basically drunk, you're high on witchcraft, and so you are likely going to slip and end up in and of yourself testing positive for HIV. Yeah, no, it happened with me. The dude wakwa America, I'm gonna like Zomkipa, he tested positive for HIV and used witchcraft to try and make me embrace, except in my stride. Essentially, what is this? I already spoke about this. I take in my stride the fact that he's positive. He used a whole bunch of witchcraft. He's gotten me pursued by that. And I had a dream last night, which is why I'm even ranting like this. I'm supposed to be editing a 48-part series that frankly needs to get out as in day before yesterday. But I'm talking here. I had a dream where I was like, basically my cousin and her sister were shoving me, pushing me to this nuisance in America, despite the fact that the guy, over and above all the other character flaws he's got, his involvement in voodoo and whatnot, is HIV positive. And I'm a woman that's never been married. I've never had children. He has got 2 ex-wives and some kid that he's not taking care of, and he wants to come here. Got disease, he wants to rock up here with his disease and me be like, okay, we need to be careful. We need to make sure that we take this. Make sure that you're on your ARVs. Make sure that, hey, Batung, this guy is making HIV look as if though it's a cancer diagnosis, or never mind even a cancer, like, and we're just gonna try and see if we can't get you to remission, or even somebody that is at a high risk of cancer. Like with my ex-boyfriend, for instance, his brother had passed away from cancer, so I was very worried that he might also perish on me and leave me widowed or whatever should we get married. So I was always like driving him like to go see doctors, to get screenings and this and that. I was just always all up in pushing him, because I knew that he potentially could one day also have it, because I know that cancer is hereditary in some instances. Yeah, he was trying to make HIV look like something like that, where I'm just always really very careful to make sure that my boyfriend doesn't die fast, you know, doesn't also like, you know, end up with cancer, to like check, get his things done, blah blah and whatnot. This is cancer is not a sexually transmitted disease. HIV is. And sex is such a big, huge, gargantuan part of a marriage, for crying out loud. Like, for me to be 24 hours a day just in danger of contracting HIV because I'm married to I can't take it. There are people who are mature enough to embrace that, but not me. I worked very hard to make sure that I never ever get it and stay healthy. I got saved then, which made it even better because of the fact that now I'm abstinent. I have not had sex ever since that very boyfriend that I'm talking about. And here it is that a person wants to rock up, be the first one to have my body ever since then, and he at the very first time that I lay with him, I very potentially might end up HIV positive. Yeah, no, this cousin of mine and her sister were trying to push me to this man. When I started talking Lana, I said witches, they think that witchcraft not only changes their own personalities, but the personalities of people out there, personalities of people they bewitch. They literally try to cause everybody to compromise on basic common sense, basic things that are the way that you tend to reason, you as a person, how you tend to logic, that like just basic cognitive function. They expect to be able to just throw it awry because they messed up their own lives, because they did ABCD. Yeah, no, guys, that's the kind of stuff that I'm facing. Constant witchcraft, darts in my direction, and it's been evident all throughout the years that I'm not that girl. I'm not that girl. I don't have a child yet. I don't have a husband. This cousin of mine is the one that made a baby when she couldn't afford to. I'm not about to go and give birth to a baby. Go Jobek Jen. I'm not about to go and give birth to a baby in a public hospital. I can't stand them. I can't stand being inside them. I can't stand regular hospitals, let alone a public one. And in this country, queues for days. She had to be discharged after just one day, even though she was still bleeding. Her stitches were still sore, because they had to make room for other women that were busy giving birth in the greater Johannesburg area. There was no space for her. They kicked her out after just one day. Yo. Imagine giving birth to a baby as a first-time mom in a hospital where you're still feeling kind of weak, and they tell you you're gonna have to go home because another woman is about to give birth. What in the world? Like, childbirth, and especially as broody as I am, is such a sacred experience, and I am literally being asked by witches, and then come back into this environment, bring a baby into this space. I can't even handle a cat. And this morning I woke up from these nightmares, and then as I'm busy walking up and down, basically prepping my morning routine and what have you, I heard that song from back in the day. What's love got to do with it, babe? What's love got to do? Yeah, I don't love this guy. I can't stand him. I think he's a rapist and a murderer. I cannot deal. He has tried to kill me multiple times. Every time after his death curses fail, he then goes back to love curses. Like, he's just on a loop, a cycle, and I'm waiting for God to essentially knock him out because he's gonna die. But in the run-up to, he is hopeful, precisely because of my family conditions and the witchcraft certain of my family members keep sending to make me settle. And this guy's like, if anybody's gonna get you, it's gonna be me. First come, first serve. Like, just that level of bravado. That's what witches into Korobela literally say about people. They meet you and they're like, first come, first serve. Imagine somebody looking at you, a sacred being, a whole individual made in the image of God, looking at you like that. Like you're something that anyone can just take insofar as they found you first. You don't get to make a decision. You don't get to have standards. You just take whatever comes. Witchcraft intends to manipulate the cosmos that way, to mess with people's minds, literally mind control, to a point of making them do some of the most abominable things that are trashy for them. Things that they never would do. They go and they grab a whole classy woman and make her the bottom of the barrel. That's what witches hope to achieve. Like, it's so arrogant because God, his common grace, makes sure that witchcraft does not work the way that it is supposed to. Because if it did work the way that it was supposed to work, so many people would just suddenly plunge from glory. So many people would suddenly lose their wits, their minds. So many women would be married to the boto, and so many men would be married to whores, even though they were like the most eligible bachelors in the city. He makes sure that his common grace applies, that some witchcraft very simply just does not take effect. It's just obviously a menacing, a heinous act of compromise on the part of a person when it's glaring and gawking in broad daylight. Some people are like, no, I'm sorry, but like, no, I'm not doing this. Even when they're not born again. We praise the Lord for that. It handles witches, however, it does not take away the fact that they try. And so muddy the cosmos, muddy the stratosphere, filling it with demons, filling the country, elevating above the country, essentially a demon of this nature, an entity, a principality, not a demon, like a principality of this nature. And so therefore, because there is a principality now just kind of plastered over the nation, more influential than are they to sprinkle this dust over all South Africans. And so what then happens is more and more people are finding themselves single for way too long because they just won't settle for what witches are sending. People are staying single for way too long. Like 10 years, I've been single for 12, for instance, right? Yeah, they are staying single for much too long because of an unpreparedness to settle for what witches are sending. When then there's been placed, as a result of a lot of demonic activity going on, an actual principality over the country that is influencing this particular agenda, it will make sure that you appear unlucky in love. I don't like the word lucky because it suggests some other spirit is behind it, but I had to use it for the sake of this analogy. You will appear unfortunate in love. You understand what I'm saying? Where it is that even though you know what you want and you don't want to compromise, you will keep on getting sent the same rubbish because this principality is in operation, making sure that all you can meet are men that love Korobela, men that are literally saying, what's love got to do with it. This guy is singing that song. He knows I don't love him. I want nothing to do with him. He is disgusting, but he's like, it ain't got nothing to do with love. This is it's a hostage situation. He wants me. He's a psychopath. He's a psychopath. He's crazy. And there's no talking to a crazy person. There is no talking to a crazy person, but crazy witches that are not psychopaths. They have not lost their minds yet. Even though to a certain extent they are. This dude is a total textbook case of some diagnosable mental illness. And they want me to go marry a man like that will inevitably, literally drive a chainsaw through my torso in violence to end my life because I am unmanageable. I'm like a grease ball in your hand. I keep slipping out. I don't do what you want me to do. And so therefore he will end up, just like I said, driving a chainsaw right through my torso. He has been trying to kill me, but now he wants me in his life. Why, Foster? I don't know when God is going to take him out because I need him dead. I proper do. I am not even trying to take prisoners with that. Like, this dude needs to be neutralized. Is that basic? But the only reason he's got that level of bravado, this guy, is because my family members keep going back to the drawing board because they want me to end up just my cousin. You know, whether sister or dom that embrace this rubbish. And now the two of them are engaged in some kind of family coven. I don't know what's going on. Yeah, no, she wants me to be exactly what she was. Giving birth to a baby in a public hospital, not even having your own apartment, and not having your own car, not having any of your own resources. I've never been that irresponsible. But she wants to make me exactly just like her. With a deadbeat baby daddy that cannot take care of me, but that nonetheless wants the baby for some strange reason, and over and above it, then Nabeke end up with HIV on top of it. That's what witches have literally, prepared for my future. Imagine that. That's what's going on in South Africa. Gender-based violence is because of Korobela. The unemployment rate of 30% is because of spells cast on careers. The low morale in corporate South Africa because of witches getting promotions that don't belong to them is responsible for the economy crashing, the companies not doing their best, falling apart all over the show. Guys, whoa. in this dream that I had last night, this cousin of mine with her sister were in my mother's house, but it was a combination of my mother's house and their house, Gosoweto, where I believe the dad and the mom still stay. Whenever I see such imagery, God is showing me regression, witchcraft, indawo yakdala, etc. Right? That's where we grew up. Grandmother's house, we're not there anymore. So the witchcraft was just showing me like a whole bunch of regression, and I was like a domestic servant in that house, like a combination of my mom's house and that house. A domestic servant. Do you understand? They had come to visit us, but it was a combination of their house and this one. And I was just cleaning, scrubbing. I was just reduced to this thing while they were busy talking with my mother about their careers. Oh, I'm doing this. Oh, I'm doing that. Trying to make me jealous. In the dream, I ended up feeling jealous because it's a dream. In waking life, ew, who in the world envies a demon-possessed human being? Like, there is nothing to envy. They change personality. They become new human beings altogether, something unrecognizable. And what they intend for people is also menacingly, like, what is the word that I'm looking for? Descriptive of their own demonic possession and fallenness of their former character. It evidences that they're not there anymore. Whoever they used to be is gone. Because my cousin, especially the younger one, would never have thought like this before. So the fact that she can think like this now shows just what in the heaven happens when you open your house like it's a party. Hey. Yeah, like it's a house party for demons. They change your personality. They make you do a 180. You become someone you were never. And the uncomfortable thing as well is that because of how much you have changed, you become an irresponsible mother. Due to the fact that when your kids grow up and they start to become very beautiful, given that you threw away your own life, you're going to envy them. And then you will become a narcissistic mother that is going... I had a dream of Beyonce putting, what do you call this? A foot monitor, like an ankle monitor on the ankle of Blue Ivy when she was growing up and becoming a beautiful young woman because she envied her own daughter now that she had lost her own glory. Beyonce, like the celebrity, God is showing me what happens when people partake in witchcraft all their lives. They end up irresponsible. Look at Madonna. Look at her. She basically could be her own child. They won't let go of their youth. They don't allow themselves to age with grace. They don't allow themselves to watch other people to live alone. They leave the little children alone. Leave them to live their own lives. They want to control impilo zabo. And in my dream, Beyonce's kid had an ankle monitor because she wanted to surveil and monitor everything she does and make sure that her movements, there's only so far that she can go and no further. She cannot go beyond a certain perimeter because she's not allowed to fly free like a bird because the mom caged herself in demonic possession. Yeah, so you might covet or envy, glamorize Beyonce's life, but that's what God is showing me is the mindset of a witch. So therefore, last time I checked, this cousin of mine had 2 daughters. She might have had more kids since then. I don't know. Okay? Yeah, no, inevitably, her kids, her daughters, are going to experience what I'm experiencing at the hands of my own mother. Narcissistic personality disorder. A mother that is holding her own child hostage, unprepared that her own child should live, marry, do what under heaven it is that she wants to do because she messed up her own life with darkness, and now she wants to make sure that she can surveil and control her own child. They destroy their own families. Inevitably, they will walk in that fashion. So it's only a matter of time. If at all the Lord does not stop this stuff, no flesh would be saved. If anything, the other day I was in the bathroom and I heard that scripture from Matthew 24 that unless the Lord cut those days short, no flesh would be saved. So the next generation, is it Alpha? Basically her kids would qualify as Generation Alpha, right? The one that comes after Gen Z. That generation of children are facing parents that are just menacing. If this is what's currently happening now to millennials and Gen Zs, can you imagine what Generation Alpha, basically the babies that we're giving birth to as millennials, are going to suffer at the hands of their parents? Jealousy, just so much jealousy, where kids literally cannot move because this cousin of mine is already far gone. She's done more witchcraft than my mom ever could have in her whole entire lifetime. Way more. She is way more involved in much darker things than any of the generation, is it X parents or just before X angazi of our parents. Their witchcraft was not as sophisticated. They did not have access to witch doctors in other African countries, or even on the internet finding some prolific member of a satanic organization offering services for a fee. Now witchcraft is more ubiquitously challenged and being practiced, and the entities that are placed over a nation when enough people practice witchcraft, those were not historically up above the country back in the days of my mom growing up. So witchcraft was individually practiced by witches, but not supported or aided by a chief principality. Now they've put a chief principality, making it more poignant, more potent on the ground. So the level of insanity that my own mom is walking in is a pin drop in the ocean in comparison to what my cousin will inevitably do to her own daughters when they get to an age where they start to become very beautiful, fill out their bodies, become hourglass, get pursued by men. There is no describing just how bad it's going to get. So if God does not cut these days short, no flesh would be saved. We are going to be dealing now with mothers just killing their teenage daughters because they came back home wearing mascara or whatever. Like, it's going to get to a point where mothers are literally holding... Look at what's happening with me. Like, I've got ability to freely roam even though I've been held hostage by a lack of support, a lack of service for my needs, a lack of acknowledgement of my person. But I can at least get out of here and go to Clearwater Mall and come back. The day is going to come when kids are actually bound in. The day is going to arrive when daughters, especially daughters, I will put this out there, are going to get literally put in dungeons, basements of parents' houses and locked in there and fed, like sent food, just so their parents don't have to watch their daughters do a better thing. What makes these women so envious of their own children is because when you swallow a whole bunch of demons, you change your character, you lose the nostalgic early part of your life. Your latter part of your life, you are such a different human being, such a monster, a menace, a completely different character that you long or miss for the innocence of youth before you started to practice witchcraft. So your kids remind you of that, and it is an assault. They find it an affront to what it is under heaven. It is that they're trying to escape emotionally. So for those reasons, they end up grieving, abusing desperately children that they trusted, the children that these kids trusted their parents to take care of them, love them. But one day, literally the kid's entire future is locked away by a mother that does not want to see what would have become of my life if I did not dabble. I don't use witchcraft. I gave my life to Jesus, and my mother does not want to see what in the world the life of a person that does not change her personality because of witchcraft ends up looking like. She does not want to be offended, afflicted by the darts of the observation of how she would have turned out if she had done better. So it's better for her to just lock me away. Well, I'm just, like I said, a pin drop in the ocean in comparison to what's going to happen to Generation Z or Gen Z, not Gen Z kids, those two, but millennial kids, the alphas, the ones that are being born now. Yeah, no, guys, there is no end to how menacing their parents are going to get when these kids become 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, when they start to fill out and be really gorgeous. Like, it's going to be a carnage. It's going to be a bloodbath. Thank you. Parents are literally going to slay their own children. They're going to imprison daughters. They're going to try and force daughters to marry wicked men. If at all the Lord does not cut these days short, no flesh will be saved. So we are going home in the rapture. This is a message to basically tell my cousin, carry on, unzo lawyer, even to this day, unzo tsubisa uswakahu, the occult. Continue doing all these things, influencing, recruiting new members into the occult. Girl, it's already clear. Witches are like people who don't flush the toilet after using it, where everybody can see, or you just left the stall but you didn't flush, and when the next person goes in there in a public hospital, in a public bathroom, they then see the stools in there, the urine. They're like women who just leave their pads, their sanitary pads, dirty ones, there on the side for everybody to see. They don't clean up after themselves, so everybody sees that they've got bad practices. Everybody sees that they lack hygiene. Thank you. It's obvious. Over time, it becomes clear that baloya. So the way that they try to then fix this is by killing their victims so they won't look so bad. And right now I am being targeted by my cousin and her sister for just a complete extinction, annihilation. They want me to settle. This cousin of mine, she wouldn't even care if I died. But her sister is a lot of Christians. Middle East is hatred for God as well. Persecution of Christians and violence and too much war. Africa, it's witchcraft. There is no way where it is livable by Christians. Yesterday, I was led. Last night, I was wearing that doogie, the last piece that I did before this. I spoke about how the world is teeming at the folds or is infested with the bugs of Mesopotamian dust, something of that nature. In other words, the Middle Eastern type of persecuting style of Christians is coming to all other countries in the world. And this is how South Africa is afflicting true believers. And those people sitting in churches, brick and mortar churches, they're ineffective to fight this darkness off because they are dishonoring God, disregarding His precepts, His laws. They're busy praying in tongues in public congregations. The witches are swinging in hammocks inside churches, able, without manifesting any demons at all, to just do what they do without any hindrance. Nobody even is onto them. True Christians are sitting at the backs of their mother's houses gathering dust. Other believers are stymied in churches where there's so much compromise, but there's nowhere else for them to go, so they sit out those churches. That's what's going on. The great apostasy. Every last person you meet is a witch. People are trying to force people to do things that they have not signed up for. And if you stick to your guns, you're going to live a life of isolation. this thing is already starting to give me issues with sound quality and what have you, so I'm gonna get out of here sooner rather than later and just finish this already, because I just wanted to rant. I'm doing other edits that I'm much rather focusing on right now, but I have to comfort myself over all the things I'm seeing, like the forcefulness, the spite, the fact that people want me to take whatever comes my way because they've made me desperate. Do I look desperate? No, seriously speaking, let's just get real. I'm not desperate. I'm waiting on the Lord. So just the fact that people, what's happening? Why is this thing doing what it's doing? Just the fact that people are trying everything in their power to make people who are not prepared to settle by putting them in desperado circumstances. That's what's going to make what is happening over here. Anyway, guys, I don't know what's going on, but this is going to be my last part. This phone is literally I even hate that I used it, because I'm going to do so much editing on it just to align my sound with my lips. But like, anyway, you know, this is just the story of my life. It sucks, so we just deal. Plus I need to use the bathroom. Herein lies the conclusion of this matter. Cousin and sister, I'm sorry, sister, that you decided to go and follow in this dark path, and now you're barely recognizable in your personality. First and foremost, you're all going to hell, and at this point, I'm just trying to protect my own life at this point. And on top of that, I will never ever settle. And for you to bring me men who are so forceful and coercive and full of rape and insistence and possessiveness over me, to a point where they will even sing, "What's love got to do with it, girl," knowing that I don't love them, but they want me anyway. The fact that you live in a world so incredibly crazy that women can't even protect other women from men like those evidences why it is under heaven that we even have a problem with gender-based violence in South Africa. This American man does not care. Nobody, like, if maybe some of the people in his life knew me, and as I describe him, he then would be embarrassed, maybe he might stop. But he's just sitting in America, where he is this like Lone Ranger psychopath surveilling a woman that does not belong to him, and he keeps on casting spells, imagining there are no ramifications because no one knows him or who it is that I'm talking about, and no one that is in his life is watching my content. So even when I describe his HIV and all these things, he's just like, whatever, but I'm just gonna keep trying. Those are the kinds of people that you have put me in the forefront of. Like, you have literally placed my life in harm's way. You've made out of me Uinene. You know, Uinene got murdered by some stranger when she went to go and collect her items at like a laundromat or whatever. A woman that did not sign up for it. She was not involved in a relationship with a deadbeat boyfriend. She was just killed by a stranger on the street. You've made my life like that of Uinene's, where I am in danger from some stranger on the street that doesn't even care all the things that I talk about him, because he is in an isolated part of the world somewhere. And that's the reason why I keep saying God will deliver me from this man. God Almighty will deliver me from this man by his death. Last night I had a dream of him trying to drag me noose to die, and I was like choking on some remove this noose from me. He keeps like penduluming between death curse and love curse, death curse and love curse. I keep saying that. He's crazy, and my family are throwing me to that psychopath. Essentially, they have already signed my death certificate. If at all the Lord does not cut these days short, no flesh would be saved. I am not at the beck and call of witches. They are frustrated that I'm not doing what they want me to do. The fact that I don't have any children is like, for them, something very important. The fact that I don't have a baby daddy ongravazang. Oh, that's another thing that I just want to put out there in this very final part. The reason why they are insisting on bringing certain people together with very dark satanic people that are involved in the occult is because it's very hard to handle them. It's hard to subdue them, and Christian women are among the most targeted demographic because of the fact that they tend to stick to their guns, plus they are aided along by the Holy Spirit. So when they say no, they get kept in singleness, or they are harassed by a barrage of sorcery, or they are harassed by very satanic men that keep on asking them out, and they don't want them. When you don't want to settle, they think you're arrogant because everybody else is just joining the party. It's like they are trying to round up all the people, but we are going home, because this is what, like, the world is a zoo. It's wildlife. It is we are we mama yeah. In the jungle is South Africa, maybe the Earth South America today. Wankumuntu is practicing witchcraft and nobody can breathe today. I'm gonna fetch all the Christians and round them up in a church and make them pray in tongues so they can be distracted in what they do and not really successfully do anything at all. And those that are standing their ground against rubbish, we're gonna get to them today. Cause I'm a zebra and I'm a cobra, I'm a lion, a giraffe today. I am a crocodile, I am whatever animal it is that you want to write about today. Because I'm not doing anything human, I'm destroying my whole country and I don't care today. Awimbawe, awimbawe, awimbawe. Yeah, it's just literally the animal kingdom. This here is the Lion King. This here is a jungle, like even the one that is disarrayed because there is a stampede. No order, just chaos. Animals actually got it better than you. They got more order than you. They're like a rogue bear that has just had its cubs taken from them. That's what God says about a person that has no self-control. They're like a bear who's just lost its cubs. I'm signing out in Christ's name, Cran K. Bye.